What's up guys, it's Rogue here and welcome back to yet another amazing video on the channel. For today, as you can see by the title, we have my favorite Beast Warrior deck. It is of course not the best by any stretch of the imagination, but it is of course Yusenju's. Yusenju's are a deck that have been around for many years. It's the deck that you'd end up playing when you tried pulling all the Necros cards, failed, you'd end up playing Yusenju's. And they've just been around for a really long time, and this is the deck profile I have of them. It is of course not a control variant, it is a going second version. I feel like the control variant is more consistent because you can play Pot of Duality, Card of Demise. It does lock you into no special summoning, which I feel in the control variant is fine, but in a going second version you do need Kaijus, you need Pankratops, you need hand traps that special summon themselves to help you push through the boards and help you set up your boards and push for game. So that's why I'm playing the going second version. If you guys do enjoy this type of content, make sure you do leave a like and a comment down below. Make sure you do subscribe. Don't be part of those 95% of people that watch the video and don't subscribe. Make sure you're here for the 1K subscriber count, and we'll be doing an amazing giveaway. So without any further ado, let's get straight into this deck profile. So starting off with this deck profile, we have triple of the Yusenju Kama 1. He is your main Yusenju. He has the effect that when he is normal summoned, you can normal summon again another Yusenju monster. And if you control another Yusenju monster, he is basically a compulsory evacuation device, which is basically the reason why he is the best Yusenju. Going on for another 3 of, we have triple of the Yusenju Kama 2. If you don't know what he does, is he grants you the ability to attack directly, but it is half, but it is very useful to getting some poke damage on your opponent. And now that we're here, we also play triple of the Yusenju Kama 3. When he does battle damage, you can add any Yusenju card. They all have the effect that when you normal summon them, you can normal summon again. And these are the 3 main ones that you're going to be basically normal summoning, and they all come back to the hand at the end of the turn. For Yusenju card that doesn't grant you an additional normal, we have triple of the Yusenju Tsuku. Again, he comes back at the end phase, all of them do. And what he does is you can discard him and your Yusenju monster will gain 1000 attack, or if he's on the field, you can basically target another Yusenju monster and it gains 1000 attack. So he basically just helps you in the damage step to get over things, or you can normal summon him and just get more bodies on the board. For the Yusenju that we're actually not playing at 3 here, it is double of the Yusenju Izna. This card will rarely ever be normal summoned. We'll basically discard it so that your opponent cannot respond to your Yusenju normal monster summons, and basically that protects you a lot against traps and against hand traps as well. So that is why we're playing 1 Izna. And we're also playing 1 Musenju Daya back. If you don't know what this card is, we're never going to be special summoning them, just tributing 2 of our Yusenju monsters, and basically he is a compulse for 2, and he doesn't come back in the end phase, so I think he's at least a good one of that, can be searchable and does come up in some situations. So that is it for the Yusenju part of the deck. Moving on to the hand traps, we have triple Alpha, the Master of Beasts. This card is really good in this deck because it bounces cards you control back to your hand. Your Yusenjus would be going back to your hand regardless anyway, so you get extra value out of that. And his special summon isn't once per turn, and it gives you a big attack number, which helps you push for game since this is mostly a going second deck. And Alpha is actually insane. That's why we're playing 3. We're also playing 3 of the D-Shifter. D-Shifter is more of a defensive, but can also work as an aggressive card. Basically, you're going to be going second with this deck. There's not a lot of hand traps, so D-Shifter is one of those hand traps that can basically stop an entire deck on its own. And if you don't use the D-Shifter during your opponent's turn, right before you're going to start your Yusenju plays, you can discard the D-Shifter, and that protects you against Effect Veiler essentially, because that needs to go to the grave. And other hand traps as well also need to send themselves to the grave, and of course they can't because they would be banished. So that is why D-Shifter is in the deck. Very useful card. And of course just triple of the Ash Blossom, just a very generic hand trap, probably one of the best hand traps still. And yeah, we're playing 3 of each hand trap. 9 hand traps in a 40 card deck gives you a good chance of seeing at least 1, and they are very high impact. Well, the D-Shifter is very high impact, so seeing that card basically gives you a turn. Moving on for the going second cards, we have 3 Kaijus, Chizukuru, Thunder King, and Gamma Seal. You can argue you can play the Wind Kaiju. I just don't have it at the moment, but just replace this for the Wind Kaiju in case there are some barrier statues flying around. And we are playing 3 Kaijus, really good. I wouldn't recommend playing more than 3 because we are also playing other cards to summon these Kaijus, and 3 I think is the perfect number. Helps you get rid of monsters that just have negation, and really useful for bouncing, for basically outing impossible boards. And remember that your Kama 1 will be able to bounce back your Kaiju to the hand so that you can re-Kaiju or save it for the next turn, which is why Yusenju Kama 1 works really well with Kaijus. For the last going second card, 1 Dino Wrestle at Pankratops. This card sort of just fell off the face of the earth but it is really good still, in my opinion, and basically just a free special summon, and then it's a quick effect pop. So it's basically a 2-for-1 because you can beat over something and then use its effect during your opponent's turn. For the spells, triple Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, just Raigeki basically, but better because it wipes everything. I guess Raigeki does the same. You can play Raigeki. I just thought with the Kaijus already in the deck, this has good synergy, and of course you can banish it from the grave to search a Kaiju. So triple Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. We have double of the Yusenju Wind Worship. This basically just draws you cards, bounces back at least 3 Yusenjus. Remember, they're coming back at the end of the turn anyway, and you draw until you have 5 cards. So it's essentially just a +1. Use this card, return 3, and draw until you have 5. So that would be 2. Using +1. For the one of spells, 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Fire Formation Tenki, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and 1 Dimensional Fissure. Again, this card can be used to switch off things like Effect Veiler, so it's actually versatile in that regard. This just blows out all the back row matchups. Tenki just searches you any Yusenju. Unfortunately, it's at 1. Of course, with Tenki being at 1, decks like Yusenjus do suffer, but it was a meta hit. And then we have 1 Call by the Grave again to protect yourself from the hand traps. You really do need your Yusenju normal summons to stick, because if they interrupt that, that's basically your entire Yusenju line switched off for the turn. For your traps, 1 Red Reboot, 1 Macrocosmo, and 1 Yusenju Sword Sting. This basically you can search with Kama 3 and it gives you some interruption during your opponent's turn. Macrocosmo again is just Dimension Shifter, but just forever. And Red Reboot is again for those back row matchups that you can blow up using cards from the extra deck. So whatever they set won't really be an issue. So that is the main deck. I'll now be moving on to the extra deck. So now for the extra deck, we are going to start with a Link 5. We have 1 of the Underworld Goddess. I feel like this card is highly underrated, and you are going to be getting at least 3 to 4 bodies on the board. So Underworld Goddess is very easy to make. It is a skill drain. It is unaffected by cards that basically don't target. So stuff like Dingirsu won't affect this card because it doesn't target, and basically can negate the summon from the graveyard. You'll just negate the effect. So really nice. We're playing 1 Appaloosa. Don't kill your opponent. You can use your Yusenjus to go into a 4 negate Appaloosa, so really nice. We're of course playing the Access Code Talker. This just basically because you can link climb with your Yusenjus if you think you can kill your opponent, and Access Code Talker gives you that ability. 1 Ningirsu, just again to non-target out things. 1 Nightmare Unicorn and Phoenix. This is just like what you're going to be climbing into. The Phoenix, the Unicorn, and then the Access Code. Just gives you loads of pops along the way. And for the last link is 1 Great Fly. This is essentially just 2 win monsters, gives you an attack boost, and if it is outed, you can get a win monster back from the grave to your hand. For the Xyzs, we have 1 Utopia the Lightning with Utopia. This is to get over really big monsters that your opponent might have, and if you don't have access to a Kaiju, Utopia the Lightning is the next best thing. 1 Tornado Dragon. This basically, if you red reboot someone, you can Tornado Dragon whatever they set, and it's basically like you just red rebooted them for free. We have 1 of the Tiger King. This searches you your Tenki, and Tenki is a free search in this deck, so really nice. It's also like a mini skill drain. You can detach and negate all face-up monsters effects, so very useful. We're playing 1 of the Castella. This card used to be highly played, not anymore. It's still okay. You can detach 1, put something face down, detach 2, bounce something back. Very versatile card. 1 Abyss Dweller. Just say no to Graveyard Reliant decks and win the game with Abyss Dweller. 1 Cowboy for Game. Actually does come up sometimes. Burn them for 800 and win the game. And the last card is of course Lightning Chidori. Just more back row removal. On summon, it targets 1 set card, return that target to the bottom of the opponent's deck, so it doesn't destroy it. Really good against Eldritch. And then you can detach 1 Xyz material and then target 1 face-up card and put it to the top of the deck, so also manipulates your opponent's top leg. So that is the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy my take on Yusenjus. This is of course not a perfect build, but I feel it's a pretty damn good one. So if you guys do enjoy this type of content, make sure you do like and subscribe. Please leave a comment down below and what your favorite Beast Warrior deck. I'd love to know. I reply to all you guys. And let me know what you guys thought of Yusenjus, any changes you'd make. Do you prefer playing the control build, the going second build? I would love to know. Without any further ado, I'll see you all in the next video.
It's time! Let's go!